Thank you very much for coming in. Let me start with you, Jonathan, as the head of this. Why invest in such a drone program?
So every year, more than 500,000 South Africans give of themselves. They give a blood donation, and we collect about 1 million blood units. We have about 185 sites countrywide. The challenge, however, is that's all fair and good in urban areas, but in the deeply rural areas, it's difficult to know exactly when somebody's going to be hemorrhaging. So one of the highest incidences in the world, in fact, of postpartum hemorrhage and maternal death as a consequence of it is in South Africa. So we needed to find a novel way to get blood safely, and in fact to get cross-matched blood safely to those people in those rural communities where there's either mountain passes, there's difficult terrain, and you just cannot get there quick enough. The golden hour is just so critical in terms of blood transfusion. If you're bleeding heavily and you're not given blood in the first hour, the outcomes really aren't good. Hence the concept of this drone project.
Okay, before we get into further details about what you had to consider in order to launch this program, is this the first of many to come?
So certainly, this is a concept, it's a pilot, so we're going to be flying between a district general hospital blood bank and an outlying rural hospital just to prove out the concept. What's absolutely unique about this particular aircraft is its ability to take off like a helicopter, fly like an aeroplane across hundreds of kilometers and land like a helicopter. In addition, it has a capsule inside, a bit like a womb. When we have blood in our bodies and we move around, obviously we don't expose that blood to high G-forces or changes in temperature. So we have a temperature-monitored container that really insulates and keeps the blood at exactly the right or perfect conditions all the time.
Okay, now Lebo, how are you going to be piloting this thing? And congratulations.
Thank you.
I don't know. I mean, I see the visuals that we've been showing. Is that it?
Yes, it is.
That's it.
Yes, it is.
It's a little bit big from what I thought. You only think of a drone, you look at these little things, but that's like a mini plane, eh?
It is. I mean, it puts in 4 units of blood, so it's not that. The wingspan is about?
It's about 3.5
meters. So it's quite big.
So it's a big aircraft.
Easy to pilot?
Quite easy. It's an autonomous vehicle. So I just take off and I land, but I can take control of the aircraft should there be a need.
And what's the distance it can cover? How far can it go?
It can do up to 100 kilometers at 180 kilometers per hour.
Wow.
So it goes quite fast, but we generally fly it at 70 kilometers per hour.
Okay, so you've been practicing quite a bit now, because Jonathan said it's a pilot, so currently I guess you're busy in practice mode, checking out everything.
Yes, so we're in preparation to do the proof of concept. As he mentioned, we'll be in the district areas in the Val area where we'll be conducting these flights.
So where do you fly this from?
You fly it for the proof of concept will be based at Kopanong Hospital as well as Sebokeng Hospital. So the one pilot will fly it from one area to the other.
So how do you track it? Does it have a video? Does it have a camera on it that feeds back to your base station where you are controlling everything?
So we have a station, and you can basically track the aircraft on our screens as well. So you can see where it is, how far it's going, what is the airspeed, what altitude it's going.
Oh, there you are. I saw a visual of you practicing there.
Yeah.
Okay, now it's like a remote thing. You said it's autonomous. So it can pretty much fly itself as well if you needed to, and then you could have a cup of coffee while this thing is going towards some district.
I could, yes.
Yeah. So has it been difficult to learn how to do this?
It was a bit of a challenge for me because I have experience in the manned aviation side. I'm training to be a pilot, actually.
So why the blood service? Sorry, Jonathan, I'm just fascinated now. Why the blood service if you're trained to be a pilot?
When I joined the service in 2011, I had joined the service to pay for my own fees. Mm-hmm. But because the flight school is so expensive, it obviously was a bit difficult to still maintain that. So when the opportunity came to still be part of my job and be in the aviation industry, I couldn't say no.
Okay, Jonathan, I feel sorry for you. I don't know if you're going to keep her for too long in the blood service and if she gets that break. Now, let's talk about the drone. What are the key considerations you had to take into account when you were coming up with this concept, when you were building or getting this drone built for the blood service?
So I think we've seen this concept pioneered in other parts of Africa, in Rwanda, Uganda specifically. The challenges are in South Africa, it's very important to abide by the civil aviation regulations, and dropping things from the sky sort of in a parachute, one from our blood service perspective we didn't feel was particularly safe, and then two from the CAA it's a bit of a no-no. So the considerations were firstly an aircraft that could take off like a helicopter, that didn't need a runway or some kind of springboard, and as you can see there it takes off like a helicopter. The front propellers then move forward and the rear propellers switch off and it transitions into an aircraft. So that gives it a very efficient glide profile. So it can fly for hundreds of kilometers. The other key thing, of course, was safety. So in an emergency, if the engines fail, this, like an aircraft, can glide down to the ground. I guess
speed was also important.
Yes,
from what you just
absolutely.
said, 180 kilometers an hour. That's quite fast to get to somebody who needs an emergency supply.
We need to get there quickly, absolutely. So hundreds of kilometers and very, very quickly.
But the blood service doesn't have money. I mean, this costs quite a bit. How are you funding this?
So mostly this has come out of our time. So we've put together an amazing task team, and I think it was George Bernard Shaw that said that there's always the optimist that invents the aircraft, and then there's the pessimist that invents the parachute. We have a healthy dose of that in SANBS, so we're funding it ourselves.
Okay, you mentioned Civil Aviation Authority, so I guess licensing comes into it. You can't just fly a drone in this country without a license. How's that process going for you?
So we started talking to the CAA last year, and certainly have made application for this particular vehicle, but it's a bit of chicken and egg because this is such a unique vehicle and such a world first. It's neither a helicopter nor an aeroplane, so it doesn't really fit in a traditional classification. So we had to build the aircraft, bring it to South Africa, conceptualize it, and then show the CAA what we are doing so that they can create a category for it.
So are you going to get the license? Are you positive? What did they say about the license?
So I think the CAA has been extremely helpful and extremely positive every inch of the way, as has Department of Health. So the Minister of Health, Dr. Motsoaledi, was behind that. Okay. And certainly we hope that Dr. Zweli Mkhize will also give his blessing.
I hope he's watching and listening, or somebody in his department is listening, watching. You have to fly this thing, Lebohang. I guess with the license, it will tell you the restrictions and stuff. There will be a particular height, I guess, you're going to have to keep to.
Correct. I mean, with the civil aviation regulations, you can fly up to 400 feet. So we will be flying beyond visual line of sight, and you need a qualification for that.
But without crossing the path with the normal flight paths of normal planes. And
hence, we're in talks with the civil aviation to see which corridors they can give us.
Yeah, no, good luck. Which province are you going to start this? Where are you going to start? You mentioned rural areas in the beginning, very briefly. Where are you going to start, Jonathan?
So we're going to start firstly, I think, as Lebo said, between Sebokeng and Kopanong hospitals.
So it's going to be in Gauteng, in the Vaal area?
In Gauteng. That's just because it's close to our offices and close to our facilities. Incidentally, this has a transponder on board as well. So it will be telling all civil aviation aircraft, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here.
Yep.
So, it's not going to be invisible. We plan to work with the CAA to open up drone corridors.
So you're going to be going rural. So rural South Africa is like Limpopo, it's like KwaZulu-Natal, like the Eastern Cape.
Yep.
Okay? Well, good luck.
Thank you so much.
I hope they keep you at the blood service because there's going to be more planes, Otherwise, Jonathan might be losing his skill here because you might go into civil aviation. I could see her eyes light up when she was talking about this thing. Thank you very much and all the best with your program here. Lebohang she's of course the first female drone pilot for the South African National Blood Service, and with her was the Chief Executive Jonathan Lowe. It's exciting. It's going to be a great thing, and it's called the Tron drone that they've built themselves, and it's going to be saving lives hopefully, and it could be the first of many to come. Good luck to them. Now.